Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay. So we have already covered all 5 modules. Now we are just putting a closer to disclosure, which is climate action disclosure. What we have done already in GHG accounting and reporting process, module 1 and 2 gives you a clear accounting process where we have measuring emission and establishing baseline we have looked into. Module 3 talked about critical area which you need to identify, specifically the category under scope 3, emission for intervention. Fourth module, we talked about action. So how you should develop and implement a strategy to reduce the emission. We also looked into disclosure through carbon markets or through climate action markets. Now, here, VCAs, CDM, etc., we have discussed if you really want to offset and create a portfolio. Now, this is an iterative process you have to understand. So all these 5 modules, you cannot learn each one independently. You have to combine it together, test and try it, fail sometime. Like today, we saw there are, look, everybody, let me give you a overall feedback. Specific feedback will be a kind of one-to-one discussion, which we will do it separately based on your performance and where you are lacking or what you have to improve. So you have to book a Calendly with me and then we will discuss that, a specific area of improvements. But otherwise, I will tell you, most of you have covered what has been asked. But what you need to be little pragmatic. What do you mean by pragmatic? Pragmatic means, you remember I have told you that always look into cost and benefit analysis. That when we set that how you should implement mitigation, you remember there was a 5 principle for mitigation and there was 5 steps for mitigation. One of the critical principle, three principle for mitigation and 5 steps for mitigation. That one of the critical was that should be companies should not get overburdened by the cost of doing that exercise. You got my point, yeah? So that is the only thing missing, that you could not highlight in each of your cases that what kind of impact they are going to get. So this particular process has a larger cost impact. However, when they implemented it, this is the result they got. So eventually, even though it's a little costlier, but it gives a maximum impact to that company, specifically in the case of Toyota. Yeah, what is the result? That's the linkage was little bit missing. And I hope this is a practice which you have to do. And that's why I'm giving you one more case today, which is an IKEA case. Do that, bring it, and then we will have a specific feedback. Make sense? So ESG Pro Mastery Institute has given you a GHG accounting and reporting process, which involved accounting, analysis, action, and disclosure. Of course, these all 4 steps under 5 modules, which I have covered, need to be in iterative process. We have already understood climate action basics, which given you the definition, and it also gave you 2 more definition, which I have added now. Which are those? Mitigation and adoption definition. That mitigation is reducing the GHG emission to limit the global warming, which we have discussed today. And adoption is additional disclosure, which in case study somebody has mentioned as well, that preparing and managing for impact of climate change. This is according to United Nations FCC. Climate action and global goals, we have already learned SDG. A specific goal number 3 attaches to the mitigation action which you are doing. Yeah. So remember, goal number 3 in sustainable development goal links here. Now, whoever is continuing GRI program, please note that we are going to cover this kind of stuff there in detail. Then Paris Agreement, we have already understood very well. And net zero target is a key initiative, a key mitigation initiative which attaches to climate action. One of the best case, if you want to see, is the idea IKEA in this case and how they are deploying such kind of activity. They have clearly defined their mitigation activity, which links to climate action in 3 steps, which you will read in the case study, which I'm going to post after the lecture today, after the discussion today. The renewable energy, what you need to read, that what kind of investment they are doing in wind and solar, what kind of solar panel they are talking, how the retail sites are getting upgraded, customer solar offering, how that is working in favor of climate action initiative of IKEA. Sustainable sourcing, of course, you will read that there, that wood sourcing, how they are making sustainable. The supply chain sustainability, of course, is again, it is as big as I told you materiality assessment, etc. So there are different modules we are preparing for the same sustainability in the supply chain and materiality assessment for any GRI or TCFD or any sustainability program you are launching. These are two different modules. But here, when you will read the case, you will get an idea that how this works. Clear? Then you have and do little bit of net search as well. Don't. This is one thing I have seen from previous two batches and this batch. Um, you could not get time. So let me be very honest. Whatever you have done is phenomenal with a given time because you had a half day virtually, right? Full night and then morning up to 11 o'clock. So I really respect. But the difference what I have seen is you have not referred little bit of internet or their website or their sustainability report. Please go to that company's sustainability report if you prepare IKEA report, IKEA case study. And the third part, which mitigation action, which IKEA is taking and links directly to climate action on any corporate tomorrow you are guiding or you are working for, which will you will be able to showcase that you are helping your country NDC achievement through climate action is the circular economic practice. Of course, it's a manufacturing company. As you know, the sector wise, this is a critical sector critical activity in the manufacturing industry, which is circular in economic practices. How IKEA is doing, you need to refer their sustainability report. However, I have already captured in the some part of it in the case study, but I will recommend that you look there as well. Yeah, when you prepare the report. Eventually, all this has to come together so that countries can redefine, readjust their NDCs, nationally determined contribution, and their development of climate policy, national as well as global. National is shown in right hand side. We have already discussed few of them. EU Green Deal is one of the famous one. In India, you have India's National Action Plan on Climate Change, which is called NAPCC, and United States has a Climate Action Inflation Reduction Act, IRA, launched by Biden government. We are worried right now with the Trump coming in. Global policy, which applies to all country, updates on COP agreement and their implication, like COP 28 2023, COP 29 in Baku, and COP 30. All this helps to develop these policy where you as a corporate who contributed to climate action can go and discuss about it. A lot of corporates goes there and put their plans and discuss with the world leaders as well. Paris Agreement target is another global policy which helps you to develop this mitigation action. Global Methane Pledge is another one. If you are really working in CH4 area or methane area, this is a good one to refer. Loss and damage funds enable sometimes countries and as well as companies to claim some amount of data. Then happens is carbon market, carbon pricing mechanism. We have already run the carbon market, carbon tax implementation, which is happening through CBAM, carbon border adjustment mechanism. This is another module. Or maybe in one of the weekends, we will keep on meeting again and again. We are going to start that very soon. A group meeting on weekends. And this will be a kind of year-long program where we will bring every week one new topic to be discussed and debated between all the stakeholders. Right now, we only do for the our premium paid participants who have joined our CFA program. For them, we have this weekly sessions, but we are going to bring it for all. It will be a subscription fee which you can buy for, and then you have a role in reduction. So these are the part which also helps you to contribute to climate policy, or you can tomorrow help developing such policy. Then there are voluntary initiatives which includes SBTIs, Science-Based Target Initiative, and second one is Renewable Energy 100. This 100 is for 100%. A lot of company has already selected this and following it, which includes IKEA, and that's why IKEA case is very important for you to solve. And I'm giving 1 day time, not 1 day, 1 day and half day more, and that too weekend. Please prepare and bring it for your own benefit. Yeah,
Tomorrow you have to bring it,
most
no?
of the program like RE100, SBTI also they are following. SBTI is one of the initiative which is Science-Based Target Initiative, whoever sets the net zero target, if they adopt SBTI, their life becomes very easier. Yeah, more than 4,500 companies are already doing it. Framework which they include is target for 1, 2, 3 mission, all three mission, and transition to net zero strategy by mid-century is the focus here. Other voluntary initiatives you should also know is green supply chain, which is sustainable supply chain now is a critical one. Walmart, Unilever, all these are embedded in their sustainability practices, specifically the mitigation practices. Circular economic practices like IKEA has implemented, H&M has implemented, and we have already now know 7 Rs, right? Rethink. How many of you remember that 7 R?
Yes.
Yes, me.
चलिए एक 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 बोल दीजिए मेरे को तो आई विल नो दैट
या
यू
तो
नो.
रीथिंक हो गया.
Refuse.
Correct. Rethink, reuse, all that which we
Refuse,
know,
refuse,
plus
reduce, reuse, repair, regifting, and recycle.
absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Good job done. So those 7 Rs need to be included in circular economy policy. And then you have a carbon neutral products. People are also producing Microsoft, Dell, Apple. They are targeting carbon neutral product with verified carbon neutral footprint. Key challenges to do that, of course, supply chain emission is the critical one where the scope 3 complexity remain in the forefront. We have discussed several times. Often it is 70 to 90% and very difficult to control. Companies like PepsiCo and Nestle are using digital traceability tool in partnership to track a scope 3 emission. Yeah, so they are integrating their digital tracking tool with the supply chain network in order to track the scope 3 emission. Then you have a policy shift, which is dynamic regulation, like CBAM, evolving legislation is a challenge for a lot of people. So that becomes a problem. Global disparity is another policy shift issue. And then stakeholder expectation. So transparency demands investor which are seeking ESG matrices in financial disclosure. Customer prefers that brand with a strong sustainability commitment, even though they might not pay you little bit extra, but they will pick you if you are sustainably conscious when they come to buy in a mall or a mart. So that's a key challenge. With that, we are coming to end of our session, which completes all our modules overall. The one module, which is a testing module, includes IKEA case study. If you present, it carries a mark as well. If you don't present, then you have to really do well in the test. So tomorrow we will start with the summary. Half an hour, I will summarize all the 5 modules. That's my duty. And then half an hour, you have to give the presentation. And the last, everybody has to give 2-minute presentation, not beyond that, on IKEA case study. And then immediately after that, we will start the test. 7 to 9 is the session timing. If you finish your case study by 7:45, we will start at 7:45, and then 15 minutes of closing session we will have it tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining us on the weekend. Really appreciate that. Any question, any answer you seek? It is
Yeah,
your
there was one question.